Today I'm going to be sharing the full time lapse of how I drew this and kind of explain some of the thought processes and just some stuff that's going on. So without further ado, let's get straight to it. So before I begin doing any colour, I need a sketch to work from, which if you watched a lot of my videos, you'll know I use grids for, because this way I know that everything is in the right place and don't have to worry about it later on. I then go in quite crudely with a black alcohol marker and a bunch of fine liners, just to outline where all those darkest areas are, so I've got a general idea of the whole shading situation before I hit it with the colours. I then hit it with the colours, or in this case, mostly greys, to give myself a really nice overview of what the drawing will actually look like, making sure to pay particular attention to the reference image in this stage because, like I just said, this is kind of the mapping of what the drawing will actually look like in the final piece. It's also worth noting that I always work quite lightly here because it's always easier to darken a lighter area than it is to lighten a darker one. Once this marker base is done, I can then go in with the pencils, and I always go in first with a black pencil just to outline where all the details are, and then I go in with the coloured ones a bit later. Now the side panels on this car are mostly white, but when you're drawing white things in coloured pencils, you can't just use greys. You need to put a little bit of blue in there to kind of show a reflection from the sky, which will make it look a lot more realistic. Now these panels are actually really time consuming to draw because you need to put so many different pencil layers down and over again. It will slowly get smoother and be a bit more like actual Lego pieces. Now the hardest part of drawing these Technic cars is actually the holes on the panels themselves, because they need to be in keeping with perspective, and if you do them right, they can look really good, and if you do them wrong, then yeah, they're basically gonna ruin the piece. But my advice when drawing these is to kind of put some construction lines for yourself. This is by drawing a rectangle that's kind of in keeping with perspective, and then splitting it up into the desired number of holes that you need in terms of boxes, and then you draw the circles inside of them. And then once you've drawn the circles, you then need to do another little curve inside the circles dependent on how you're looking at them. And then this will give them a nice 3D look when you shade them in a bit later. Now a vital tool when doing these small holes and other details is a sharp pencil, more specifically a sharp black and a white pencil. Now people have objections to using these because using a white can really unsaturate the colors, and using a black is considered not necessarily part of everyday objects. Instead, you should probably use a dark blue. However, I really like using a black pencil because it allows you to go really dark in the shadows, and yeah, I think my drawings are alright having used it, but it's really up to you. Now, you know how I said that you needed to use lots of layering to smooth out the pencils? Well, my next stage in the drawing process takes that to another level, because I use colourless alcohol to kind of turn the pigment into an ink-like substance, which will give it a really nice solid finish and gets rid of a lot of that paper grain, or pencil grain in this case. Just be cautious that doing this will kind of clog up your applicator, so you'll need to clean it quite often to make sure you don't contaminate other areas with the pigment from areas you've just worked on. Now the final stage to any of my drawings is adding the highlights with a white paint pen. So here you go, the Lego Technic Porsche 911 RSR, and if you made it this far, you may enjoy this video.